For 3 consecutive years, ancient Israel was trapped in a severe, unrelenting famine. The ecological devastation was total. Crops failed, and the national economy ground to a halt as the population starved across parched, cracked earth. In the same chapter documenting this drought, the narrative shifts to intense military combat, detailing the sudden deaths of 4 massive warriors. Read linearly, 2 Samuel 21 reads like a disjointed historical archive. It places a sweeping ecological crisis alongside a localized military roster. This split-screen model highlights the tension within the text. An upper register dictates national ecology, while a lower register details individual combat. We have to determine how a massive drought relates to these isolated infantry skirmishes. This chapter presents these events as part of a single theological framework. The structural pillar uniting them suggests that environmental stability and military success are both tied to the state of the nation's covenant. This framework pairs 2 distinct concepts: the achievement of cosmic order through covenantal atonement and the operational order carried out by distributed human agency. Our objective is to map the specific logic that connects these 2 sides of the same theocratic system. The 3-year famine strikes during the height of King David's reign. Within this ancient worldview, a famine of this duration acts as a diagnostic alert, signaling a rupture in the nation's underlying covenantal standing. This flowchart begins with a clear system error. The prolonged famine serves as the indicator that an unaddressed violation has compromised the nation's relationship with God. David recognizes the signal and initiates a direct diagnostic inquiry to Yahweh. He moves past immediate agricultural relief to find the root cause of the drought. The diagnostic output is specific. The crisis stems from the blood guilt of the previous king, Saul, who systematically targeted the Gibeonites. Saul's crime was a violation of a historical treaty. Generals earlier, Israel had signed a binding pact to protect the Gibeonite people, a pact Saul ignored in his pursuit of political consolidation. The principle here is that the passage of time or a change in administration does not dissolve a covenantal dent. As long as the historical sin remains unaddressed, the entire national system stays locked in a state of ecological judgment. Resolving the ecological error requires a specific transactional restitution. David seeks the terms of atonement directly from the aggrieved party. He asks the Gibeonites what is required to restore the broken relationship. This scale demonstrates the systemic imbalance. Saul's violence has driven the nation's standing entirely out of equilibrium. The Gibeonites demand 7 of Saul's male descendants to be surrendered. In the logic of ancient Near Eastern justice, handing over these descendants serves as the restitution required to settle the debt. The 7 men are executed on a mountain before Yahweh, framing the event as a formal resolution of the spiritual breach. Following this resolution, the text records a critical data point in verse 10. Heavy rain begins to fall. The rain provides physical confirmation that the spiritual debt is cleared. The atonement phase is complete. This ancient protocol implies a broader principle for individual believers. Persistent hardships can serve as a prompt for an internal audit, encouraging the individual to search for unconfessed or systemic failures. Restoring equilibrium requires a decisive and honest processing of these internal breaches. Once the text resolves the drought, it pivots immediately to the operational execution of war. During a battle with the Philistines, King David, the nation's primary leader, is at his physical limit. He is visibly faltering and exhausted. A giant nearly kills him before a subordinate intervenes. Afterward, David's commanders sideline him, insisting he no longer lead from the front. This network map illustrates the shift towards distributed agency. The large central node, representing the legendary leader, reaches its capacity and powers down. The mission does not stall when the central leader fails. Instead, the responsibility shifts to the surrounding nodes. Specialized commanders, David's generals, step into the vacuum to maintain the offensive. These commanders face massive physical obstacles, 4 entrenched giants of the Philistine army. The narrative details 4 separate skirmishes where these subordinate actors successfully defeat each giant. This military roster reinforces a theological point regarding the capacity of ordinary believers. Within a healthy system, ordinary actors can accomplish tasks of significant scale for the benefit of the entire community. 2 Samuel 21 presents these events as a study in theocratic operations. The system model shows a macro-level loop. Sin triggers judgment, and restitution brings restoration. The bottom half represents the agency loop. A leader's weakness is met by divine provision, executed through faith and combat. The author pairs these stories to prove they are strictly interdependent. The narrative implies that covenantal integrity in the land is the necessary backdrop for victory on the battlefield. This requires participants to be proactive about their own internal standing, addressing historical or personal breaches directly. With those breaches resolved, the individuals within the community can function as effective agents in the broader plan. The text illustrates that the external battle against giants is won when the internal, systemic spiritual standing of the nation is restored.